Okay, quickly, tell me the difference between your refresh rate and your FPS. Okay, good. You did your best. You did your best.
Chelsea, why would you ask me that?
Well, what monitor do you have? Are you sure it matches your setup? What does it mean to have the best monitor in 2025? Well, first, let me say, the best monitor is the one that fits your setup, not the one that just happens to have 0.2 nanoseconds response time, 30 billion nits, all in 10K resolution. No, it needs to fit your hardware. Now, let's break down what qualities to look for in a monitor based on your setup, not just what everyone else is saying. We'll review the basics of several types of monitors, which monitor best fits certain needs, and any special features that might pull you to your dream setup. Hi, I'm Chelsea Bytes. I love building computers and the tech that comes with it. I've done tech reviews and builds with companies like IGN, so if you want to check my workout, I've got it all in the description below. I do a ton of other nerdy things as well that you can check out right here on my channel. This video is sponsored by AOC, and they have provided samples for us to review today as examples of what you should look for in your next monitor. 1. Refresh rate versus FPS. Let's start with the buzzwords, frames per second. Just in case this wasn't clear, this is not the same as your refresh rate, which comes directly from your monitor. Your FPS comes from your GPU. Remember, when you build your setup, one size does not fit all. It is possible to buy a monitor that outclasses your GPU and vice versa. This is how you create a bottleneck, where you limit the capability of your PC and peripherals. Imagine you have a GPU that can output 4K 60, but your monitor can only support 720p at 60. Or you have a souped up monitor that can support 1440p at 60, but your GPU can only do 1080p 30. You want to do some matchmaking when it comes specifically to your GPU and your monitor, making sure they're the right couple. Because if they start fighting, you're going to suffer via screen tearing and other issues, which sucks. While it is much harder to find an exact match, you're absolutely going to want your GPU to perform higher than your monitor. It's better to lose out on a bit of performance than to experience stuttering or tearing. Let's review. Your refresh rate is measured in hertz. This shows how quickly your monitor is able to refresh or redraw the screen per second. Your FPS, or frames per second, is how many frames your computer is able to generate per second. You see the connection, right? 2. Resolution and screen sizes. Depending on your build, you might range from under 1080p to 8K, which, congrats, you're really jacked. Now, it's important to understand how much work a higher resolution adds to your GPU. 1080p at 60 frames is miles more manageable than 8K at 60 frames. Your refresh rate and FPS determine how smooth your experience will be, whether you're gaming, streaming, etc. Let's take the Intel Arc A750 for example. I know, bear with me. If you scroll to the info description, it claims that it can achieve a max resolution over HDMI at 49.6 by 2160 at 60 Hertz, which is 4K at 60 Hertz. It also claims that it can achieve a max resolution of 7680 by 4320, which is 8K, at 60 Hertz over display. Some of you might be asking,
well, Chelsea, I've seen monitors that go up to 400 Hertz.
Exactly. When I read this, I assume that if I buy a monitor that is higher than 60 Hertz, I won't even be able to fully utilize it, even at 8K. On Amazon, 60 Hertz is the lowest refresh rate you can filter for. So keep that in mind when you look at your GPU. You'll be able to quickly tell what your future monitor will look like.
Chelsea, how do I look at my GPU?
You can look up your GPU's particular benchmark on a well-used site like tomshardware.com or other trusted forums. Also remember to check your ports. You don't want to buy a monitor and find out your GPU doesn't have an HDMI port that you need to work it. 3. Panel types. Consider this part of the video the sorting hat section. What house do you belong in? Are you a gamer? Then you'd probably want a TN panel. Do you like to see all of the pretty colors? Then an IPS panel is probably for you. You like to spend money? Okay, then an OLED is right up your alley, but your video will look so good. You don't know what you are? Let's go over here, okay? Let's get a VA panel. It'll work for just about anything. Come on, come on. I won't go into the nitty-gritty details on all of these technologies, but you get the gist of what each panel does. You can search for monitors by panel types to serve your specific needs. 4. Mounting your monitors. To mount or not to mount? Well, it actually doesn't have to be a question because most monitors are VESA compliant. VESA is an association that standardizes certain features like mounts across electronics. This pattern can be found across monitors, TVs, and other displays. There are some brands that aren't VESA compliant, like Apple. Make sure you check your mount type before you buy your monitor if you have an existing mount system. 5. Additional features. There are a few more notes I have before we complete our list. I'll start from common to niche. 1. G-Sync versus FreeSync versus Adaptive Sync. NVIDIA created G-Sync to help synchronize your monitor's refresh rate with your GPU's frame rate to prevent stuttering, lag, tearing, you name it. If you have an NVIDIA graphics card, I recommend finding a monitor that carries true G-Sync. G-Sync compatible does not mean it has true G-Sync. Your monitor should have a G-Sync module or be a certified G-Sync compatible monitor. There are also guides or charts online to help you find true G-Sync monitors. FreeSync is an AMD technology that technically does the same thing G-Sync does. The difference is that it's an open standard and is royalty-free, which means there's no specific hardware requirement for the monitor you buy. Some older G-Sync monitors require an NVIDIA GPU to use them. This has changed over time, but it's always a good habit to check if your GPU and monitor are compatible, whether it carries FreeSync or G-Sync. Also, do the same with Adaptive Sync, which is very similar to FreeSync. 2. Response time. Response time is how quickly a pixel changes from one color to another. If you would prefer to avoid ghosting and want a smooth visual experience, you want a decent response time. You can go as low as 1 millisecond. With an OLED monitor, you can go even lower to 0.03 milliseconds. They're known to have some of the lowest response times. 3. When it comes to color accuracy, I am not an expert. Now, you can find sites like rtings.com and other forums that benchmark monitors' color accuracy. IPS and OLED monitors usually stand out in this category, so I suggest you start there if your needs require a high color accuracy for your monitor. Make sure to follow this checklist whenever you're looking for a new monitor. It'll help you keep all the details in check. First, look at your GPU. Understand what hardware you're working with. You don't want to waste money buying a monitor your GPU can't support. 2. Decide this monitor's purpose. Are you gaming, working, or just need to see what you're browsing online? Pick your monitor panel, and based on your GPU, the resolution you need. 3. If you have an existing mount system, make sure the mount matches the monitor you're picking. And that's how I pick a monitor in 2025. I hope this taught you a few terms and helped you make a smarter decision on what your next monitor will be. As a quick start guide, I would start with PC Part Picker or even Amazon and use the filters to find the monitors available for your setup. You can find more professional comparisons on rtings and other trusted forums, where you can see that AOC has the best budget monitor for 2025. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what monitor you're thinking about. You got any additional tips? I'd love to hear about those as well. Like, comment, and subscribe to feed the code. Join me on all my other socials like Twitch, Blue Sky, Insta, and more.